Let's get going. So a warm welcome to today's webinar on Reimagine your CX program to unlock your growth through strategic evolution. I've got with me today Charlie West, who will share what strategic approach to take to secure ongoing investments for your CX initiatives. Charlie is an ex-advisor here at InMoment, where she helps clients engage with internal teams and create value for their business and customers. She specializes in generating insights that bring the voice of the customer into business strategies. And before joining InMoment, Charlie led the Global Customer Experience Program at Dyson, expanding the CX program to 30 countries, establishing customer listening channels and reporting platforms to provide actionable insights for the organization. So a great speaker to have on site with us today. But before I hand over to Charlie, just some housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded and shared with you afterwards to kind of listen in again, share with your colleagues and your network. We also have some time left at the end for questions, so please drop them in the chat or the Q&A window throughout the session. And with that, Charlie, I hand over to you.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you very much for the introduction and welcome everybody to the session today. I'm going to be talking through a few ideas on how to think a little bit more strategically about your customer experience program in terms of objectives and program planning and some simple techniques for developing these. As in any business project or program, customer experience measurement must evolve and change to ensure they stay relevant and continue to add value to a business. It's really easy for programs to get stuck, and they can sometimes benefit from a review, both of the vision and the strategy to ensure that they continue to evolve. And more mature customer experience programs can suffer from inertia. And just by doing the same thing in the same way, don't evolve and they become outdated and irrelevant. Programs may fail to adapt to changing business environments or customer expectations, which again may change with technological advancements or market trends. And for newer programs, it's equally important to make sure that you design a program which is relevant to your organization and brings value. But this can be really hard, and it can be really difficult to find the headspace to really sit back and think more strategically about your customer experience and not just be stuck in the day-to-day issues and processes around running your program. But I really encourage you to do it because I think it's really worth doing. And in the end, our success as customer experience professionals is really very much linked to the success of our programs. So how do we go about doing that? We need to make sure that there's a clear program purpose, which is consistently communicated within our business. We can review our program strategy to make sure that we've got both short and long-term goals for our programs, which remain aligned to our organizational needs. And we can ensure that our customer experience objectives are aligned with those broader business goals and strategies. And this can help in gaining that really important executive buy-in and ensuring that the program supports overall business growth. So firstly, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail around creating that program vision and objective. I'm going to use a swimming analogy here. I'm lucky enough to live by the sea, and when swimming longer distances in the warmer months, I hesitate to say not right now, I found it really helps to have a goal to aim for, something that I can see from a distance. In this picture, you will see a post sticking up from the water on the right-hand side of the photo. This post marks the end of a breakwater, and when swimming, it really gives me something to aim for. Because strong tides, waves, varying light conditions, they can all make it a challenge to stay on track, stay on course, and not become disoriented. Similarly, in any project or program, it can be really easy to get stuck in the day-to-day tasks, get sidetracked by short-term priorities and issues which pop up, and start to lose a view of where you want to go longer term. And again, with any business project or program, a voice of customer program needs to have a plan on what it's trying to accomplish and how. So how do we go about doing this? So firstly, set that destination. have a really clear goal enabled by a strong program vision and objectives. Secondly, chart your course. A strategic plan detailing specific actions or changes that are required to your program or the broader business in order for you to meet your objectives and overcome challenges. Thirdly, get moving in the right direction. Design your program to provide insights which show what needs to be changed based on data, feedback, and analysis. And lastly, always remember that you may need to adjust your path. As you move forward, you might encounter challenges or unexpected issues or outcomes, and your program needs to be designed to be flexible, making adjustments while still being guided by that original objective. So this is where it's really important to have a goal or a vision for your program. The better you are aligned to your business goals, the more likely you are to have a program which is recognized as successful. It's also valuable for tracking your own objectives, because then you can prove that you've met them and you've set out what you wanted to achieve. So Diane's going to put up a poll now. I think it'd be really useful to just understand, do you in your business have a defined and agreed objectives or strategy for your customer program? Just click on yes or no. It'd be really great to see, all anonymous, what your feedback is on this, and if we've got anybody who's already got a strategy. Hopefully yes. I have no idea how I can see the poll. I'm assuming it's going to pop up in a minute with the responses.
Yes, so far we have 70. Oh, it's actually changing. We've got a few more people addressing, but so far we have yes 60%
Oh, cool.
and no 40%.
Okay,
so,
cool. Well, that's good. Thank you. There we go. It's popped up. And I can actually see that now. So that's great. 60% of you have got some kind of like objectives and strategy, which is fabulous. Okay, so in terms of putting together some of those objectives, now this is nothing new, it's nothing clever, but sometimes I think we forget when we're in customer experience that actually some of the basic project and program management tools can be really useful. So how do we go about creating that goal for your program? It can actually be really difficult to sit back and think about what that needs to be, but having a structured approach can really help. So firstly, think about defining success. How do you clearly articulate what a successful CX program looks for your organization, and what are your key objectives? For instance, is it perhaps improved customer satisfaction, increased loyalty or retention, or a combination of those? Ensure it aligns with business goals, so make sure that it's aligned with the broader business. And this helps in gaining that executive buy-in and ensuring you're supporting growth. And in order to do that, make them SMART. So they need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and preferably time-bound as well. So we've got an example here on the right-hand side of the slide. And this is a really great example of that. So we have increasing customer retention by 15%. This is really clear. It's a measurable target that can reflect the primary goal of the customer experience program. Do it within 12 months. So it's a specific time frame. This adds urgency and helps in planning and prioritizing initiatives to get there within the business. Improving the end-to-end customer journey focuses on identifying and enhancing every touch point along the customer's interaction with your brand, from initial contact to post-purchase support. And then something like reducing response times across all customer service channels will ensure that the program addresses operational efficiency as well, which is a critical factor for customer satisfaction. So really trying to think about how you could actually define something for your business which meets those SMART objectives. So in the next section, I'm going to talk about some of those common challenges in customer experience programs. So at InMoment, we run workshops with customers looking at the 10 key areas which are key to the success of any customer experience program. I'm just going to run through each of these at a very high level today, but it's definitely worth thinking about, particularly if you are developing your strategy or you're looking at a plan as to how to improve, to really look at these 10 different areas to understand where are you performing well, where are you performing not quite so well, and hence where could you drive some improvement. So firstly, having executives who are 100% committed to your customer's experience and who can help drive the program's success is a really critical factor in the engagement of the rest of the business, because they can act as a role model as to what customer obsession looks like and really demonstrate to the business that the customer is a priority. Having those program goals which are clearly articulated to ensure the business is aligned on the value of the program and that employees understand what the program is all about and what it's aiming to deliver, so you have that really consistent message across the business. Thirdly, a voice of customer program needs to be designed from a customer perspective. So not what you think the customer wants, but which is much more of an internal view of the world, but by measuring those key moments which really matter for your customers and provide points of delight or perhaps disappointment. That's when journey mapping can be a really useful tool. Another thing to consider is making your business stakeholders part of the design process. And the design process here is, for your program itself, and help shape the solution, maybe help shape the listening posts, the surveys, the dashboards, because by giving that engagement with your stakeholders, your program will have early buy-in and be significantly easier to then embed across the business because it will already have their support. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the session. Strong governance is also so important. Having that structure and consistency in terms of processes and how people do things, whether it's around the data collection or change management, and having frameworks in place around how insights are delivered to different teams, how frontline activities are coordinated, and most importantly, how that customer feedback is used to develop, set, and drive strategic priorities. Frontline teams who are obsessed with delivering outstanding experiences and have customer experiences embedded in their ways of working is also very important. And this can include coaching conversations with those frontline teams, team huddles, or action planning. Does your customer experience program, is it included in to drive service recovery? And this can be either as customers at a one-to-one level or more strategically in terms of responding to those changing customer needs. Are you closing that loop with customers, internal and external? And are you communicating what you're hearing from your customers and what you're doing to improve their experiences? Insights. They're developed to understand where we can there are key opportunities to undertake initiatives to improve and address areas of poor customer experience. Also really important to make sure that anything good is recognised. What do you do well? How can you celebrate that within your teams and your business? How can that be shared and how can it be learned from in other areas? Mentioned earlier, program agility. This means that you can be swift to adapt to ongoing changes in your program requirements, perhaps system integrations, wider trends within the business environment, and both your technology and governance model needs to allow for that ongoing change. And lastly, the linkage of customer experience to business benefits and return on investment. How do you prove the return on investment of improving the customer's experience to make sure that it's well understood and there's established benchmarks within your business? So in this last part of the session, I'm going to be going into more detail on some of these areas. So firstly, stakeholder interviews. A stakeholder review in a structured process for gathering feedback from key internal stakeholders in your customer experience program can be a really great way to re-energize and refresh your program. This could be personnel such as executives, department heads, managers, and also frontline teams. So really across the business. And although it might feel like you regularly interact with stakeholders, it can be really good to step back and reassess their needs. And having done some of these interviews lately, it's been really interesting, some of the insights we uncover and the unmet needs of those stakeholders. This therefore enables you to identify areas for improvement, to ensure alignment with organisational goals and objectives, while giving you the following kind of benefits. So it can really enhance the decision making by incorporating those insights from different stakeholders. You're able to develop your roadmap to better meet the wider needs of the organisation, making sure it stays aligned to those stakeholder goals and needs. Better change management. By involving those wider teams in the process and in the decision making, it ensures they are prepared for any change. So if you're making any change to the programme, it means that they're already prepared, they're set up to support that change, and they understand the whys and what's going to be affected. Also increases employee engagement. It allows stakeholders to voice concerns, suggest improvements, and share their perspective, which again increases buying by fostering a sense of ownership and accountability. Creating a program roadmap to advance the program and to get you where you want to go is also really important. And project management is a really important skill. It might be that you do that within your particular customer experience function, or you might get support from a project management function somewhere else in the business. But like any other business program, you need to, once you've decided what your objectives are, you need to decide how you're going to get there. So building a roadmap provides several benefits. It can allow you to better manage your resource. It can help you identify any risks and mitigate those risks by understanding and identifying any potential roadblock. It enables you to track your progress against these milestones, ensuring everyone involved understands your overall vision and the goals and how you're getting on in terms of achieving them. You can build your roadmap in a way which works for you and your business. My example here covers the main areas that I think are key for a CX program. For example, if you're building your roadmap and across these different areas, you might want to think about what is coming up in terms of the business. Does your business perhaps have plans to build a single view of the customer? Is that going to affect some of your data feeds? Are there any other platform or technology process changes going on which might impact your data? Are there any new sources of data that have become available? When you're thinking about that measuring and the insights, are your dashboards actionable? Do they need any revamping? Have you got any insights projects planned to inform change or measure that return on investment? Perhaps you're thinking about improving your actionability, perhaps introducing something like case management, and how do you want that to feed into the customer experience metrics in your business? Enablement can be something that I personally have found that you can struggle to find time to do, because actually you need to enable the rest of the organization, perhaps through training, or retraining. How do you educate new starters about your customer experience program? Is there any additional communication that you need to be planning for? And then things like governance, again, training can really help with that. Having time to sit back and create structure and processes around your voice of customer program can be really important. So lastly, just thinking about that business change process. Many customer experience teams can struggle to find the right customer experience metrics which really resonate within the business. They aren't succeeding to make those metrics actionable, or they might struggle to establish a link between improving the customer experience and better business performance. So it can really help if you're integrating your customer experience measures into business change processes that already exist. Business change can often sit within functional silos, or there may be a specific team which is using more traditional financial and business performance metrics to build business cases and measure performance in terms of investments, improvements to the business processes. And so it can be really good to get an understanding of that, because if you can integrate your customer experience metrics into this process, it makes them more sticky. It means that you're bringing the customer into the center of your business change management process. So, in order to do this, it can be really great to identify with some of those functional teams, where might there be some clear opportunities for a return on investment? For example, the impact on closed loop feedback, callbacks on churn rates, perhaps improving the online purchase experience to increase revenue and sales, or an improved digital self-serve experience, which drive down servicing costs. So once you've identified those key metrics required for measuring the experiences, it's really then understanding the organizational decision-making process within your business, finding out who the key people are, how can you get involved, what customer satisfaction metrics might be appropriate. And then you can work on building that return on investment roadmap, aligning the metrics and perhaps even realigning some of your listening posts to plan and link in with those business change processes and demonstrate return on investment. This would be a great way to collaborate with your business change teams to get those CX metrics included in business cases. Perhaps, what customer feedback relating to that customer service closed loop process with dissatisfied customers, or identifying those issues at checkout through an online survey. Have any changes actually impacted the customer satisfaction at that point? It's really great to be able to measure that and link in with an existing process. So as we come to the end of the session, some of the key takeaways I'd like you to think about in terms of continuing to be successful. So in summary, in a lot of companies, in most companies, there's ongoing change to the business, whether that's the organizational structure, whether that's business processes, it could be personnel or business strategy. Lots of ongoing change can be a real challenge to deal with, and it can always require re-engaging with the wider organization, resetting goals, improving people's understandings. And because companies also struggle with those internal silos where departments work in isolation rather than collaboratively, encouraging that collaboration by looking at the customer journey across those different departments can really encourage alignment and improve some of those disjointed customer experiences. By taking a structured approach to your customer program strategy, you'll hopefully keep your program relevant and ensure the ongoing engagement of the rest of your business. And maybe if you can find the time, maybe at the beginning of the year, sit back and think about some of this stuff. What are your program goals? Are they still relevant? What are your key challenges? What would you like to improve with your program? Can you get some support from other areas of the business to do it? And what actions can you take to address them? With all of this and gaining an understanding of some of the change processes, you can really bring customer satisfaction to the center of that, which I think is really, really good. So with that, I'll bring an end to the session. We've got some time for questions now, but if you do have anything you'd like to reach out to me to ask anything, please feel free to do so.
Great, thank you, Shirley, for sharing. I think everyone kind of enjoyed the session, and we didn't have any questions come in from the audience. So Charlie, thank you very much for running us through in such a concise manner of what to do. Dear audience and anyone that joined today, we're going to share the recording with you tomorrow and kind of the summary of this session as well, so you can kind of review it, kind of reflect on it, and see how you can implement that in your program. With that, thank you very much for joining. As said, if you've got any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We'll be sharing the contact details as well. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.